Okay. So welcome to everybody. My name is Nuria Ben-Avi. Some of you used to know me as Nuria Cohen. And it's wonderful to see many familiar names and also some new ones. I just wanted to ask people to make sure as you come on that, that you are muted. So I will be facilitating the course together with Mila Schneiderman, who you will meet in a moment. And over the next hour, we're going to do our best to share with you our appreciation and our passion for Shara Yichud, for the Mitzvah Rebbe's Shara Yichud, and also our plan for this course. So we're going to explain to you why we're going to learn, what we're going to learn, why we're going to be learning it, and also how we plan to teach it. And then after about half an hour of using that time just to try and share this with you, we'll open up to questions and see if you have any questions. So our goal really is to gather a group of women together to learn the Chassidus of Shara Yichud, which is translated as the Gate of Unity. And it occurred to me just yesterday that the Gate of Unity, it's Hashgacha Pratis, that we're going to be learning this text called the Gate of Unity, because I'm sure we all understand in the last few months that that's exactly what Am Yisrael needs. We need unity. And even my husband was telling me that the soldiers who are coming out of Gaza, they're saying it in Hebrew mainly, so maybe people haven't seen it, but they're saying, if you do not have words of unity, then please keep quiet. And they say it in a much stronger way than that. But it's all we know, it's all about unity. So by studying Shara HaYichud in the correct way, what we will be doing is actually the spiritual work of unity. And we're going to try and explain what that means. But ultimately, it is going to be kind of a process of Naseh v'Nishma, because you have to do it in order to understand it. But nevertheless, we're going to try and explain and inspire you to join us on this journey. So first, I want to present the presenters. And Mila and I see ourselves as facilitators in this process rather than as traditional teachers. So I want to introduce Mila. Mila, you need to say something just so that people can see you. Mila, you muted.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Mila.
Okay, so I'm going to introduce Mila and she'll introduce me. So I met Mila Schneiderman about 20 years ago at a class of Shara Yichud, and we became chavrutas. And over the past 20 years, Mila has continued to study Shara Yichud on and off, and she studied all 53 chapters, which you will come to understand is a huge achievement. And all the while she's doing that, she gave birth to 8 children, and she's the founder and director of a preschool and an elementary school in Crown Heights, Ole Yosef Yitzchak Lubavitch. And she's also created amazing adult education Torah courses that integrate Torah and neuroscience. So Mila, for me, Mila brings a huge depth of knowledge, a broad understanding, and a passion for Chassidus. She brings in really big lights to this project.
Nuria, thank you so much for this introduction. I really hope to live up to these expectations. Okay, thank you, Nuria. So we've met with Nuria Cohen at that time. And about 20 years ago, maybe a little bit more, and we became chavrusas. We participated in a class of Shara Yichud by Masot Tzubaun, and we pretty much connected to the work of Shara Yichud and Chassidus in general. And between us, there was a very strong chemistry. We were going over materials, and really felt connected. Neria is a phenomenal, perceptive person that I've ever met in my life, and she's an exceptionally humble and hardworking. And she, inspired by Shara Yichud, Neria created this outstanding Jewish meditation class and painting workshop. And she went to over and presented it to over 200 Chabad houses worldwide over the course of 5 years. And she also was part of multimedia department in JLI. And she got married and relocated to Jerusalem, and where she teaches meditation and Chassidus. And I'm very, very happy to run this project together with Neria. This class is also endorsed by 2 prominent rabbis, Rabbi Amira Markel and Rabbi Shimon Markel, who also worked tremendously on translating this work, translating Shara Yichud into English, and many other Hasidic projects and works as well. So I'm sure all participants would like to really know what exactly we're going to be doing. What are we doing? So we're going to be learning Shara Yichud of the Mittel Rebbe. Shara Yichud of the Mittel Rebbe is an explanation of the Shara Yichud of the Alter Rebbe, which is written in Tanya. It's a second part of Tanya. We're also going to be learning, we're mainly going to be focusing on the first chapter of Shara Yichud with explanations of Rabbi Hillel Parcher. And we're soon going to explain why we feel passionate of including Rabbi Hillel Parcher's Biurim to this learning. If we're looking a little bit as to what the first chapter of Shara Yichud has to offer, is pretty much the thesis statement of the entire Shara Yichud. In this first chapter, we find the goals of Shara Yichud, what Shara Yichud is trying to accomplish, which will provide clarity as to why are we moving on this journey. As Neria mentioned, Shara Yichud has 53 chapters. It's a very long work, especially if we're studying it with Rabbi Hillel. But the first chapter pretty much summarizes the entire work and the goal. So a reader in the first chapter gets the gist of what's the goal of Shara Yichud and how are we moving forward and why are we doing it. So that's why we're going to be focusing on the first chapter. Now, in Hayom Yom, the Rebbe, when compiling Hayom Yom and discussing Shara Yichud, he calls Shara Yichud as a Kito Chassidus, Mafteach LeChassidut. Why is it called Kito Chassidus? Is because it opens the gates of understanding of all of Chassidus. People who study Shara Yichud, and studying of Shara Yichud is actually compared to doing his bonus b'derech prat in its details. Really opens up gates of understanding of all of Chassidus, because once we understand the whole Seder Hishtalshelus, what is where, what is related to what, and how his bonus takes place, and where it brings awareness to, we start appreciating many different aspects of the entire Chassidus. So it really opens up our understanding of different levels that are mentioned in other Mamorim and Sichos, and really enriches our understanding. Now, what are the objectives and the intentions of this? I was really thinking the other day about, how can we summarize the summary of the first chapter? And it came to me that it's an important step-by-step introduction to proper approach to come close to Hashem and attain knowledge of Him. Because a lot of times we miss the main point. What is the main point of studying Chassidus? Studying Chassidus is not to become this intellectual being. Study of Chassidus is that the primary goal of Chassidus is to bring Jew essence to Hashem in his own awareness. Well, we are together with Hashem essence to essence, but being in the body, we do not feel that closeness with God. And the primary goal of Chassidus is really bring the Jew face to face with God in his own awareness. So what exactly we learn in chapter 1? We understand the pathway of how a Jew can access his inner heart, right? What tools we need to awaken our Bina Liba, which is Pnimius Nekudas Halev. This is what Bina Liba is. So now, a lot of times, people mistakenly take Shari Yichud as an intellectual pursuit of understanding this Kabbalistic machinery of the worlds and the levels, etc., etc. But this is actually secondary. The primary goal is to understand how within all the levels there's God, and how are we accessing our inner heart? Because the heart is the main part of the body. Soon we're going to be discussing why are we doing this? But in general, there is this thing of it's mentioned in Yeshaya, the prophets of the times of Mashiach, and it mentions that Hashem that the world will be covered with the knowledge of God, like the waters cover the ocean. And in general, understanding that the primary goal of Chassidus is a knowledge of God, that we're able to perceive intellectually, spiritually, and physically the awareness of God and the essence of God. And this is pretty much what we're trying to do with this first chapter of Shari Yichud.
Okay, so I know this might sound a little bit abstract, and you see that it is difficult for us to really explain what it is. What I'd like to share a little bit is my passion for Reb Hillel of Paritch, because he is really the one who's going to bring down these highlights for us and put it in very accessible kalim. He has this, Reb Hillel is a master teacher. And for those of you who are teachers and facilitators yourselves, just to learn from him is such a gift. Reb Hillel in Chabad was known as a tzaddik himself, and he could have been a rebbe on his own. They called him half a rebbe and half a tzaddik. Half a rebbe and half a chassid. He could have been a rebbe, but he chose to be a chassid of the Alter Rebbe, the Mittler Rebbe, and the Tzemach Tzedek. And he has this incredible gift of being able to take, as I said, very highlights and make them really accessible. And in my experience, he does this in a few different kinds of ways. One of the ways that he does it is, instead of, the way that Mila's describing it, it may sound that it's a very abstract work, but it's not that at all, the way that Reb Hillel teaches us, because what he does is he brings everyday examples that we can understand. Everybody can understand them. And then he shows us the code, like the Hasidic code, the godly code behind those everyday experiences. And for me, the analogy is like computer code, where you see a Word document on your page, for example, but behind that is computer code. So he shows us both. He shows us the everyday life experience, and then he teaches us the code behind it. And that is why this is called the key to Chassidus, because we learn the code. And then when we encounter any situation in life, we've got the code to decode it. So that's the one thing that I feel that he does. The other thing that he does is he's constantly exercising our brain and manipulating our brain. And he does that by, for those of you who understand the idea of right brain, left brain, he's constantly going between right brain, left brain. So the right brain understands images, and the left brain understands concepts and words. And so he constantly goes back and forth between the two. And so for those people who are more right brain thinkers, like the artists, it makes it accessible. And for those who are more left brain thinkers, it makes it interesting. But he goes back and forth and back and forth. And so he challenges us and wakes up our brain. And also, just, it's really like an explosion in the mind when you're working with both of them together. The other thing that he does, so I'm trying to tell you that he makes it easy, but he's so masterful that he first makes it easy and then he challenges us. Because the way that I understand it, he's actually trying to break our brain, or not so much break it. He's trying to make us learn something new, something we've never learned before, something to see something we've never seen before. And in order to do that, he needs to make our brain more elastic or plastic. So he challenges us to think differently. And there's an idea that, we have, there's the brain of stone, the Moach Evan, and he helps us to break our brain. And it's a very refining process. It refines the brain and then refines the person over time. So, but the main thing that I want to say that I feel that he really does, he takes us on a journey into our own brain and heart so that we can bring down new lights that are actually inside of us. And in chapter 1, he shows us the mechanism in which that happens. So as Reb Hillel says, the teacher doesn't add anything to the pupil. It's not like you adding on knowledge. What he's doing is he takes us on a journey into ourselves. And he helps us to bring down the lights that are inside each one of us. So it's a very personal journey that you will go through, and a very profound journey. And for me, this is real mental health. That's the buzzword, but it's really extraordinary. As much as I'm trying to put words to it, I don't have words to it. So we'll continue to try to give words to it. So that's Reb Hillel. I have an enormous appreciation for him as a teacher. And really, it's just extraordinary when you follow the way that he does. I say, and I shouldn't really say this, but I think that it's easier to learn from Reb Hillel than from the Rebbeim themselves. He really gives you a pathway to understand the Metzler Rebbe. Okay, I'll pass it on to Mila now.
All right, thank you, Neria. And another beautiful thing is that the Rebbe actually instructed Kehos to reprint the Mittel Rebbe's work. And he also in Tavshin and Beis, and he also instructed the Kehos that they should print it with Reb Hillel's Biurim in it. So not only that we that we should be studying it, but also whenever we study the Mittel Rebbe, we should be studying it with Reb Hillel, because before the Mittel Rebbe was printed in Rashi letters, and the Rebbe instructed them that they should use regular Hebrew letters and not Rashi, and also include Reb Hillel. So Baruch Hashem, there were found the Biurim of Reb Hillel, Likutei Biurim on Shara Yechud, 2 Biurim, and we call them left Biur and right Biur, but that's we'll go over a little bit later. So the question is pretty much asked. There are so many beautiful Hasidic works. Why are we doing this? Like, why are we going back to the Mittel Rebbe? What's the point of this workshop? There's a beautiful Rebbe Sicha that the Rebbe said on Chesmar Cheshvan Tafshin Nun Beis, and we all know the whole motive of the Rebbe on Tafshin Nun Aleph, Tafshin Nun Beis specifically is the Geula, and really making sure that Geula is brought down in the most practical way. And in that Sicha, it's a Parshas Lech Lecha. B'ezrat Hashem, right after the this class, the introductory class, we will send you the copies of this as well, so you could really see and study it for yourself. What the Rebbe is taking us on a journey to discover how we can shift to a new level of avodah. And the Rebbe goes there on to that there are three types of avodah. Number one is avodah samidis. When we came into Eretz Yisrael, we conquered the land of 7 nations. This is mainly the avodah of exile, the avodah of Golus, that we conquer the Midas, we conquer those nations, and we slowly transition into full occupation of Eretz Yisrael, the land of 7 nations. But then the Rebbe says that the 2 tribes, the 2.5 tribes, they began the avodah, which is called avodah samoichin, and that avodah is conquering the remaining 3 nations that were promised to Avram Avinu in the Parshas Lech Lecha, in the nevuah that he got about the conquering of the nations, and now it's the land of 10 nations. And this avodah, the Rebbe says, has actually had 2 components to it. One is that we are doing the avodah samoichin in order to refine our midas. And then the Rebbe says, in the times of the Geula, we will be doing the avodah samoichin bifnei atzma, on its own, without worrying about our midas and without worrying the midas about other our fellows. And the Rebbe also said and empowered that this avodah should be done by men, women, and children. So it's not something reserved for special people, for this high neshamas, etc., etc. This is literally for everybody, even for children. And what is the avodah? The Rebbe says of avodah samoichin is that we studying the deep concept of Chassidus, which are mainly brought down in the Mittel Rebbe. And the Rebbe says, and for this reason, the work of Mittel Rebbe being republished lately. And the Rebbe says, and by doing so, not only we will benefit by coming closer to Hashem and everything else that benefits an individual when they pursue avodah samoichin bifnei atzma, but we're also going to secure and expand the borders of Eretz Yisrael, the additional 3 nations. And not only we're going to be just securing them and expanding them, that Eretz Yisrael is going to be expanded, and that's probably tripled its size. But also the Rebbe says that it's going to be done in a peaceful manner. And the 3 nations are known to be as Keni, Knizi, and Kadmoni, which is Moab, Ammon, and Edom. And the Rebbe is urging in that Sicha that we should start doing it now, and mentions that this avodah, which will bring the actual Geula. The Rebbe says this is the avodah that we're going to be doing in the times of the Geula. And if we do this avodah now, we are hastening the Geula to come. So we really find, with everything else, what's happening in the world in general and in Eretz Yisrael in particular, to really, not just, do it ourselves, but, create a group of women that would be passionate about this and would, be willing to do the work. Because ultimately we're all interrelated. We are all one body. as it says in Perek Lamed Beis in Tanya. And this is the call for everybody to join to do this.
Okay. So for those of you who are able to access Hebrew, we are going to be having the Hebrew text, but thank God now we have an incredible English translation of this text. So it really makes it much more accessible to more people. I want to try and explain to you something about the process, the way that we're going to be teaching this text. Because, look, I have to say that for years, Mila has been saying to me, Nuria, we have to teach this. Nuria, we have to teach this. And I had hesitation because I would say about 10% of the text is the actual information, the experience of the text. 10% is the information. It's great information. You'll learn something amazing. But the other 90%, and these are my percentages, is it requires that a person do some work on their own. Because this work is called iyun or hitbonanut avodat hamochin. So iyun really means in-depth study. And hitbonanut, I'm going to explain to you what it means. But basically what this is going to mean is, you know, in most adult Torah learning situations, the teacher is the one that does all the work. And this course is not going to be like this. It's going to require that everybody do the work, do some work in between classes. And depending on, you know, your time, of your availability and your passion and how you get connected to the text, you'll decide how much work you want to be doing. But it will require something. And, you know, depending on how much you put in, that's how much you're going to put out. So we are going to have a group experience, because what we will be doing is we'll be structuring the classes to do everything that we can to give you access to the text and also to start this iyun and hitbonanut process. That's really our goal. The goal in the classes is not going to be to give you, you know, a huge inspiration and then you'll go away from the class and say, wow, that was amazing, but I can't tell you what, you know, what happened, what the teacher said. And, you know, I know for myself, that's very often our experience of learning, especially online. Like, it's amazing, but then we don't really retain that much. So what is hitbonanut? I'm going to quote from the Frierdiker Rebbe. So he says, the Frierdiker Rebbe says, it means that when you learn a concept, and after you know the concept well, until it's clear to you in all of its details, and you can speak about it at length, then dafka, you gaze at it in depth with intellectual effort. And this iyun, this hisbonanut, will bring you to the unity of your consciousness with the concept. And listen to this. And then you will find the delight of your soul through the unification of your intellect with the concept itself. And that's the end of the quote. And I want to add that the concept itself here is Hashem. He's talking about that you will come to a unity with something. It's almost like this process of repeating and putting in effort to understand, to really, really understand. What happens is that at a certain point, you go beyond just the letters of what it is that you're learning, and you begin to margish, you begin to feel, you begin to sense something that is behind the letters, because the tzaddik is really they're trying to show us something that they feel, that they see. And what they see and what they sense is, it's kind of like, I say, it's like they see the color. It's kind of like, this is an analogy, they see the color blue and they're trying to describe it to a blind person. So at some point in this process of doing the hisbonanut and the effort that you put in to understand the text, you start to sense what is behind the words. And so for everybody, the experience is different. And I wanted to say that, the Frierdiker Rebbe, if you think that this work is not for women, what I read to you is a quote from a letter that the Frierdiker Rebbe wrote to a young female student in 1939. So he was instructing a woman, a young girl, to do this work, this work of Yun and Hitbonenut. Okay. So as I said, the classes that we're going to, the way that we're going to teach, it's going to be active, interactive, more of a workshop style. There will be a lecturing aspect, but it will be active and interactive. And I feel that our job is to, bring it to you in a way that we feel it will be accessible. And I see that, there's a wide range of there'll be a wide range of people in the class with different abilities. And I believe that we have a methodology that is going to be able to make it accessible and interesting to all levels of understanding. So as I said, this process, it requires repetition and effort. But, as the Rebbe wanted every child to know, if someone says, I've worked hard and I've been successful, believe him. Higati v'matzati. If you put in the work, you are guaranteed to discover something amazing, because there's a huge light in this text. So just quickly, I would like to say that I'd like to give you an analogy of how this works. And I was thinking it's kind of like a dance. We'll be teaching you over a period of time a dance that has 20 different parts to it. And every week we will learn a different part. But, if you come to the class without remembering what the previous step was, it's very difficult to teach the dance. And the idea is that, we can teach you the dance, but we can't dance it for you. So the Hitbonenut is really this repetition that will enable you to take this and dance with it until the dancer becomes the dance. So that's what, this repetition, this is what the Hitbonenut will enable you to do, to really dance it. And somebody asked me, is this Avodat HaMoachin, is it emotionally intense? And I would say that it's not emotionally intense the way that we may be used to when we do inner emotional work, or when we apply our study of Chassidus in an emotionally therapeutic way. It's the work of the mind, but it's not cold intellect. It works a different muscle. There will be an emotional response, but it'll be more subtle, and it filters down, it sinks down into the heart over a longer period of time. It's really a different set of muscles. So the aim is Bina Liba, which is an understanding heart. But instead of going down first, we go up and then down. It's very, it really is an experience. And a part of it is going to be Naseh v'Nishma. You have to do it to experience it. We're very excited to bring a group of women together, because we feel that the communal power of women, especially at this moment in time, is really important. The power of the woman, it was as the Rebbe always said, it was the women, the power of the woman that took us out of Mitzrayim, and it's the power of the woman that will lead us out of this Geula. And, a group of 33 people who are right here right now. We had 75 people who signed up. It seems like a large group, but really we want 7,000 people to be doing this work. Or 750, 7,000. The more of us who are doing it together, the more power there will be in this process. What else do I want to say? So The last thing that I really want to say is that I don't know how accurate this is, but I feel like we're really at the peak of what's called the mental health crisis, but it's really, everybody's doing the inner emotional work. And it's very powerful and it's very intense. And I feel that this text gives us access to the next wave. It's the wave of the future. You don't need to take my word for it. It's really what the Rebbe said. The Rebbe said, this is the work of Mashiach. This is the work that we will be doing in the future. And the Rebbe asks us to bring the future into the present. The Rebbe said, we need to start doing this work now. So we hope to facilitate in this group. We want to facilitate people to do the work of the future now, to bring the future into now. And, that really is Mashiach now. And the neuroscience really, if any of you have looked into the process that people talk about, it really is about envisioning where you want to go and bringing it into the present. And this work takes us into the experience of the future, which is this work that we call Hitbonenut, Avodat HaMochen, etc., etc. It's hard to explain, but it gives you the experience of something that will really only be known in the future. And for me, it was suddenly, I was thinking about this yesterday, like that is, for me, a new understanding of Mashiach, like the future now, do it now. Okay, so we invite you to join us on this exciting journey, and also to tell other people who you think may benefit from this work. And okay, Mila will tell you more. We hope that we've given you some kind of understanding of what and how and why. And now Mila will explain some of the more practical details of when, etc., etc. Thanks, Mila.
Sure, thank you, Neria. Wow, that was a powerful introduction. And the funny and the most interesting part is that you never get bored with this work. Yeah, we can talk, and we, Baruch Hashem, have been talking about this work for over 20 years with Neria, on and off. It's a long period of time, and the more we talk about it, the more excited we get. And I don't remember ever being bored studying it, and anyway, so one of the things that I wanted also to mention is that, when Neria was talking about mental health, a thought came to my mind is that truly the mental health crisis, and really doing a lot of therapeutic deep work is really working with tachtonim, right? With the lower energies. In my experience, Avodas HaMochen lifts you up and brings you to the core where everything is being generated. So we have two ways of dealing with situations: dealing with it, but truly why we have the situation in the first place is because in that particular layer of our consciousness, there is a void of God, right? So what the remedy? This is the inner core why we have this problem. We definitely could go to therapists, to healers, to this, to that, but what instruments, what tools we have to fix the issue, the primary issue, is to flood our consciousness with the consciousness of God, and specifically that area will automatically, and that's what the Rebbe says, that tikkun amides in that sikha is going to happen automatically, meaning we don't have to be mitaken amides. When we do avodas hamochen, the mides are going to realign automatically. Why? Because the more consciousness of God I have in my perception, the closer I am to God in my perception, there's no room for bad middays. There's no room for distortions. I'm going to be automatically realigned. So my main focus is to go deeper. The deeper I go, the lower I'm able to bring it down, because the light of Hashem travels in two directions at the same time. And we only need to move in one direction. Now, when is it? The class is every Sunday from 10 till 11:30 a.m. It's going to be Eastern Standard Time. It's around 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., depending on the change of clocks in Israel and South Africa. It's going to be on Zoom, and we really ask all participants to please have the cameras on and, to commit to the work. We're planning on having a total in this round of workshops around 20 classes, and we're starting next week. We will have break on Purim and 3 weeks during Pesach. B'ezras Hashem, after this workshop, we will share with everybody who signed up on the form the Zoom link to join, and also the WhatsApp group, where we're going to continue the engagement. If you do not have Zoom, you could definitely join with emails just by listening the recordings, which will be emailed to every participant as well. B'ezras Hashem, after this class, we will send the instructions of how to register for the full course. And again, to mention, this is a free course. We're not, charging anything. And we would really appreciate if you could share about this course to other people. So there's going to be recordings available after each class, which are going to be emailed. They're also going to be posted on our WhatsApp group. And if you have any questions, is there anything that we didn't really clarify during this presentation? If you have any questions that might be a little bit beyond this workshop or related to this workshop, please do ask. You could, you know how to raise your hand in the Zoom, and then we'll take your questions. You could also type your questions on the chat, and we'll be able to answer them. I see Malka Naomi is really loving it. Thank you. She's sending us some love. Okay. No questions means two things.
Is it okay? We have some questions here. To buy the book in English, we will give you, the book is available in English actually on Amazon, but we will be able to give you access to a download of the English translation. I say that with hesitation because we do have to get permission to do that. But certainly for the people in Israel and South Africa who don't have access, we will do that. So we definitely, everybody will be able to have easy access to the English translation. Somebody is asking if this is open to men. It is not open to men. Sorry about that, but we need just the power of women right now.
Yeah, if anybody wants about the men, there is a men group available of Shara Yichud study with Markel, with Rabbi Shimon Markel, and also Rabbi Binyamin Walters provide men shurim as well. So if you know any men that's out there who wants to learn this work, we could definitely hook you up with the rabbis that do men classes for this.
Okay. Is it available in Israel? So I'm just reading here, somebody, CF, my cells are feeling the power of this initiative. So excited to be part of this. Thank you. Thank you for giving.
Yay.
This was great intro. Thank you, Mila and Ria. I feel the Shekhinah here. B'ezrat Hashem. Very excited. Thank you for this introduction. Looking forward to the journey. Are you offering your personal contact info? Well, I think you'll see that when we send out the email, that there's a personal email there for Mila's
Sure.
email.
It's also, we're going to be sharing a WhatsApp group. We really strongly encourage people to join the group. We don't spam the group with all kinds of things. So we really, cautious about this group to be content related. So you'll see our contact information there. Me and Neria are going to be the admins in the group. So you'll be able to contact us privately.
Oh yeah,
if
you're going
you
to
wish so.
Alpama? You would be going to 935 Eastern Parkway just to pick up some. My God.
Sorry. Somebody wants to know what is the name of the book. We're in the next 24 to 48 hours, we will send out an email with all of this information. So I see a hand going up. Is it Chana Gittel? Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning. I just want to thank both of you. Thank you for your devotion, your time, all your passion that you're bringing to this. The Rebbe said we need to dance in this galus as the door that's going to open for us, and you're doing it, and you're bringing us with you. And I just want to thank you for all of us. I want to thank you.
Thank you, Chana Gittel. But most importantly, we really want, we want to expand the dance. We want more dancers on this particular stage. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the affirmation. All right. Really no more questions. I had a question for Mila, and that was really, okay.
Yeah, what's the name of the book to buy for the course? B'ezrat Hashem, once the recording will be ready from Zoom, you're going to receive an email with all the links and information.
Okay. Is that
You had a question, Neria.
I'm just looking at the questions here. So first of all, Rivka Malka, thank you for sharing the fruits of your labor with the women so generously. Thank you, Rivka Malka. If there are other... Okay, so this is an important question. If there are other people who you think would be interested, we will send you the recording of this introduction in the email, and you can share it with other people. Mila, didn't discuss. I guess we will we'll make a YouTube channel available so that people can watch this introduction, and give them ways to communicate with us. Everything you mentioned resonates. This is the education of the future. I've been feeling into it in the now. Thank you. Thank you. That's Chaya Fega. Thank you.
That's beautiful.
What would an average week's homework look like? So this was a big question, and it was a question that I asked Mila. How much do you think? How much work is going to be required? As I said, it's really going to be up to you. Mila seemed to think that it would be at least, kind of 15 minutes a day. Part of this process is, instead of doing like an hour the day before the class, the idea is, like cramming it in. Yeah, I see some smiles there. The idea is, I find, is to input this information into your brain. So it's better to do it like a little bit every day, because then what it does is it sits in your mind, and it's sitting, you know, while I'm doing the dishes, or when I take a walk, I try and go over it. So it's there in the background, and that becomes very profound, because that's when the brain starts to make its own connections but in the information. So it's really going to be individual, but that would be a recommendation. And, you know, I've seen a lot of people, I mean, I don't like too much to do this rah-rah thing of, you know, this is the thing that's going to bring Mashiach, and this is the thing that you need to do to bring unity. So I hold myself back from saying those things, even though I do say some of it, as you may have noticed. But somebody was saying, like, you know, spend 15 minutes a day praying for Am Yisrael. Can you do that? So I kind of want to say, you know, this could be your 15 minutes a day of working on unity, because literally it's the spiritual work of unity. It's not going to look like, you know, the unity that we think of per se, but you will know that you're doing the work of Yichud, of you'll be entering the shar, this gate of unity. And we're going to be working with the group as it is. So if we feel that, for example, you know, somebody's asking, will people buddy up? For sure, people can make, you know, we're not going to be so prescriptive, you know, because people learn in different ways. And so people can make chavrutas between the people in the group, but we're not going to force things like that. We're not going to force anything. We're just going to do whatever we can to make it more available to you.
I also wanted to mention something about how much time it takes. And, you know, Naria mentioned that it really depends on what level we're taking that in. So if we're taking that in the beginning, we're definitely going to be taking that in from the thinking brain perspective. We're going to be, you know, learning about new concepts. This is our conscious mind actively working with new information. And for some of us, it may not necessarily be so new, but it's still in the thinking brain. Then we definitely, as we are thinking about it, and it's not like, you know, I allocated 15 minutes and that's basically it. It slowly will penetrate into how we feel, into our das. Our das is definitely going to be awakened in our connection to it. And then it enters into a state of being. This is who we are. We are, you know, connecting with the knowledge of God, and, you know, we're becoming more and more aware of God's presence in this world. And this is not something that we do only 15 minutes a day. It becomes a state of being. And, you know, hopefully this is going to be the being of our inner Geula.
Right. So if there are no more questions, I think I'll just end with a story. And this is a story, it was told in a book called The Jew in the Lotus by Zalman Schachter. So it's his interpretation of what happened. He relates that he once took a group of people to see the Lubavitcher Rebbe. And one of them asked the Rebbe, I think it was a young person, the person said to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, "What are you good for?" And the Rebbe said, you know, I can't tell you what, I'm not going to talk about myself, but I'll tell you what my Rebbe was for me. So the Rebbe said, my Rebbe was the geologist of the soul. Says there are great treasures in the soul. There's faith, there's love, there's awe, there's wisdom, and all these treasures you can dig. But you don't know, if you don't know where to dig, you dig up the mud, if you use Freud, or you dig up the stones, if you use Adler. But if you want to get to the gold, which is the ore of Hashem, and the silver, which is the love and the diamonds, and the silver, which is the love, and the diamonds, which is the faith, then you have to find the geologist of the soul tells you where to dig. Then the Rebbe added, but the digging you have to do yourself. So Reb Hillel, together with the Mitzvah Rebbe, they show us where to dig so that we will find enormous lights and jewels. But the digging we will have to do for ourselves. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. We really appreciate your presence here today. And we hope that you will be joining us, boots on the ground, head in the air. And yeah, thanks so much.
Sure. Thank you so much. It was really a pleasure seeing. I already was feeling the energy of this, beautiful, pure souls joining us today, and really providing that space, the headspace. It's probably an exceptionally busy day. It's Sunday, and those who joined us from the other part of the world, it's an exceptionally busy day, right? It's 5-6 p.m. But we really appreciate it, and Bezrat Hashem, I'm sure that with all the powers together, we really will discover the ultimate power of our soul, which is, already living in Geula. We just need to really bring that down and live with that awareness. Thank you very much for joining.
Mila, do you want to stop the recording?
Yeah.
Hi, can I just say, I'm so, I feel the vibrations and the excitement in my whole body of like the power and the perfection of this just opportunity. And I want to thank you so much. Everything you said was so spot on. And this is like, I think, an answer to Tfilos that I've had for so long. So I wanted to thank you for putting this together and taking the time and making Hashem's name great in all these hidden areas that still want and need the light of Hashem to be revealed. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Chaya. Good to see you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Forward.